Welcome back to Interesting Questions. Thank you for joining me. As always, smash that like button. Um, you know, you gotta like the videos. Please like them. Subscribe. That helps out a lot. Um, and share the videos with friends. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate you guys joining me. Um, this video comes from Unveiled. Shout out to them for making this video. It deals with a extraterrestrial probe that is actually circling the Earth, known as the Black Knight satellite. And I've heard about this satellite. I heard about it years ago, and it was always very intriguing to me. So, it's a very intriguing subject because why wouldn't aliens send probes here to monitor Earth? You know, I think that's like a no-brainer. We have sent probes to Mars, to Venus. The Voyager went all through our solar system, monitoring every planet in our solar system. So, a very advanced, technologically advanced society, I think would have no issue sending a probe here because potentially maybe they just think that is Earth. Maybe they're interested in our resources. Maybe they want to come here. Maybe they want to take our resources from us. Or they want to see if we have viable resources. Is it worth it for them to come here? So maybe it's not like a super technologically advanced society. Maybe it's just a society. Maybe they're 1,000 more years advanced than we are, and they're looking for Earth-like planets that have resources. So maybe instead of just traveling all the way here, we'll send a probe. And that's what we did with Mars. That's what we've done with, Jupiter, and we've sent probes to Venus. So we've done it ourselves. Why wouldn't extraterrestrials do it too? You know. So, like I said, this video comes from Unveiled. Check out their stuff too. So, let's go ahead and we'll get to the video.
Whenever NASA sends rockets or probes up into space, they're usually equipped with some sort of camera to capture various parts of our solar system on video. Sometimes then, these feeds are made available to the public, and it's not unusual to see unidentified objects floating around. This is mainly because Earth is covered in a shell of space debris formed from bits of rock and sometimes equipment that's found its way into our atmosphere, broken apart, and now we're stuck with it in orbit. Because of how fast all of this debris is traveling, even the smallest amount does have the potential to cause a catastrophe. If it makes
I remember there was a Hefty, the trash bag. They made a commercial many years ago, and it was like, oh, Hefty can clean up all the trash. And it was like an astronaut, and he was like, he's throwing trash, space debris into a trash bag, right? So it makes me think, though, like that video easily had to be 20 years ago. And it makes me think how much debris and how much garbage is literally just floating out in space from 20 years ago till today, where they have launched so many satellites. And there's it's probably got to be 100 times more than it was 20 years ago when Hefty was kind of making this commercial to make fun of this scenario of like gathering space trash. So you can only imagine how much stuff is actually out there.
contact with an operating ship, for example, or a space station, it could puncture the walls and trigger a disaster. As such, NASA keeps track of some 27,000 known pieces of debris. It's a mammoth task for the agency, and it's only set to get bigger as humanity seeks to expand its presence in space in the future. Because there's so much junk floating around up there, though, every so often we stumble across something, a particular piece of space debris, that causes a stir down here on the ground, and especially with ufologists and UFO hunters. In this vein, one of the more significant space photos was taken in 1998 during the STS-88 mission on the International Space Station. At first glance, it's perhaps just one photo among many, but there's a growing backstory to this image, because it's believed by some to show the infamous Black Knight satellite. The Black Knight satellite has a seemingly long history, said to date back more than 100 years to 1899, when the esteemed physicist Nikola Tesla was famously staging experiments with radio. During one of those experiments, he reportedly heard a strange transmission echoing back from space. Modern scholars tend to now attribute it to a category of object that was unknown at the time, pulsars, or to it being a transmission from Earth that Tesla wrongly suspected was coming from space. Others, however, believe that what Tesla really experienced was a type of first contact with intelligent extraterrestrial beings via a nearby artificial probe.
Nikola Tesla was a wild dude. He really was. He was a wild dude. He had like a lot of crazy, like he had weird superstitions. He had an obsession with the numbers 3, 6, and 9. And he said, once you understand the concept of 3, 6, and 9, you can like control the universe or something. It was, yeah, he would have to drive around a building 3 times before he would enter it. And he was very superstitious, but he was a genius. It was a brilliant man who just unbelievably ahead of his time, like way ahead of his time. Probably one of the most amazing geniuses in our history, right up there with Ramanujan, Einstein. But these guys were like equation, theorists of their time, where like Tesla was like creating all this stuff in his mind, and he would draw out all these diagrams and stuff like cell phones, and he predicted all kinds of crazy stuff. He was a wild, really wild dude, but just an amazing genius.
There's a general idea, then, that such a probe exists around Earth, the Black Knight satellite, and that Tesla accidentally discovered it all those years ago. Before then, though, it's suggested that it may have gone unnoticed for literally thousands of years, with some versions of the legend claiming that the Black Knight first entered Earth's atmosphere some 13,000 years ago. It's really multiple strange instances that have led to the formation of the wider Black Knight theory, though. First, Tesla received his unusual signal. Then again, in the late 1920s, the radio engineer Jürgen Hulse also picked up an unusual transmission that also echoed back after a delay. Hulse's signal was later named Long Delayed Echoes, and they still don't have a full explanation. Could they have originated from the same place as Tesla's then? And could they really have been beamed by a watching alien probe? In 1960, some 3 decades later, the U.S.
You know what's crazy about that, though, too? You have SETI, which is the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. So you're talking about Tesla communicating with something over 100 years ago that he felt was alien or something. It makes you think these programs like SETI, and we have satellite dishes here on Earth that are, 1,000 times or even more powerful than anything that Tesla had available to him then. So it kind of makes you think what's being withheld from us. You know what I'm saying? What have these actual programs like SETI and things that NASA has ran? What are they not telling us? Like what have they been holding out on us on? So you have to ask that question also.
U.S. Navy becomes involved. It was revealed that the Navy had cataloged a piece of unidentified space debris on radar, but then it turned out that this wasn't exactly the full picture. The Navy admission had really been part of a seeming cover-up to hide the fact that what was actually on radar was an American satellite meant for spying. Nevertheless, at the time, the story became linked to and supportive of a new resurgence of the Black Knight narrative. One Duncan Lunan, a science fiction author, even reportedly went so far as to claim that he had decoded messages from above and that they revealed the existence of a civilization in Epsilon Boötis, a binary star system in the Boötes constellation. Lunan later backed off of these claims, calling them unscientific, but some members of the UFO community still refer back to them. Now, after various apparent incidents in the 19th and 20th centuries, the Black Knight is somewhat entrenched in UFO folklore, with theorists variously claiming that NASA, the world's leading space agency, knows all about it and is communicating with it. Of course, this is not the official line, and NASA has never even hinted that the Black Knight satellite is real. The story is the product of conspiracy claims only, but those claims do reckon that they have visual evidence. The most popular supposed photo of the Black Knight satellite comes from the 1998 STS-88 mission to the International Space Station. This mission was of high importance because it delivered the first U.S. module to the ISS during the early stages of its construction. The crew were assigned multiple spacewalk missions then, and during one of those, an astronaut snapped a strange object floating above Earth. Again, the official line bore no mention of alien tech. The object in the image is instead said to be a piece of thermal covering or blanket that had drifted off by accident during the astronaut's work. According to NASA, it should have also burned up in the atmosphere shortly after the photo was taken. But regardless, some ufologists quickly connected this image to the various stories of the past to posit that this was the first real sighting of the Black Knight. There have been further claims since, including as recently as 2020, when satellite footage from the Philippines showed a curious object floating in the sky, leading some, including the alien enthusiast Scott C. Waring, to propose that it could be the Black Knight once again. There's another theory that takes a different line, however, pitched by those who believe.
Yeah, I mean, they're saying that it's possible that it was seen in 2020. I know there's other videos that talk about the Black Knight satellite, and it's actually been photographed, it not just by NASA, but there's other photographs that have been actually taken of the Black Knight satellite, and like I said, come on, people, like if aliens are gonna send probes here, that's if aliens exist and there's an advanced society, let's say they're even only 1,000 more years advanced than we are, because if we were 1,000 more years advanced than we are, we would be sending probes, we'd be probing and sending probes to other planets, like Earth-like planets in the universe. We would do it. So why wouldn't they do it out of curiosity? So
Believe in the Black Knight satellite, but don't believe it's still in orbit. And that's because it was supposedly shot down in 2017 by none other than the infamous group of powerful world leaders known as the Illuminati. Supporters of this idea claim that there exists footage of the event, showing an alien escape pod being triggered from the satellite in amongst a flash of bright white light. The footage, which is said to have been unwittingly leaked, also supposedly shows an Illuminati warplane piloted by elite soldiers blasting the ancient satellite out of the sky. Despite this, however, no debris from the apparent crash was ever recovered, and no solid evidence of either the Illuminati or the alien satellite itself has ever been confirmed.
okay, so he goes, no debris has been recovered. Look, if debris was recovered, you would never know. You would never know. If the Black Knight satellite was destroyed, you would never know. That would never be a public thing. We would never know. And, that's, I mean, his comment is saying, I'm not knocking the guy. I understand what he's saying is just, oh, well, they never said that debris was ever recovered. Well, they also said that there was no debris recovered at Roswell. And there are a lot of things that point. There's a lot of documentaries. There's a lot of information about Roswell, including people from the military who were there that literally say, yes, 100%, there was an alien. Not just was there one crash, there was actually two crashes at Roswell, which a lot of people don't know, which I actually found out in recent years watching a documentary, that there were actually two crashes at Roswell, not just one. And the second one, actually, there was a father and his two sons actually witnessed alien beings like walking around disoriented from this crash.
And so the legend and the situation is in a bit of a balance. There are plenty of aspects to the Black Knight story that remain unexplained. But whether they can all be tied together under the idea of there being an extraterrestrial satellite that's hiding over our heads remains to be seen as well. For those who believe that the satellite does exist, the NASA live feeds are where we need to be focusing on, combing through the constant pictures of space in the hope of one day seeing solid proof. NASA itself, of course, has refuted all Black Knight claims. It continues to say that any and all objects seen on camera are nothing more than space debris, of which we're accumulating more and more. If the satellite was ever revealed to be real, then there would clearly be plenty of huge questions in need of answers. Namely, how long has it been up there? And why is it watching us in the first place? Would its discovery by the public trigger the start of an alien Armageddon? Or a new age of space knowledge? For now, though, all we can say is this. The 1998 photograph from the ISS shows, according to NASA, nothing more than a thermal blanket. A misplaced piece of space travel equipment, and not a top-secret alien presence. That explanation just doesn't wash with some onlookers, however, and perhaps it never will. Rather than a blanket, they see evidence of ET surveillance.
Again, my final thought on this, like I said, if there's advanced alien society, like societies or evolved societies out there beyond ours, more advanced than ours, they will send probes here. And I'm not saying the Black Knight satellite is real. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying is there may be probes out there. They could even be cloaked. We may not even be able to physically see them. We don't even know they're there. Because these societies are far more advanced than us. But that's just my take on it. It could be possible. The Black Knight satellite absolutely could be possible. It could be real. You know. Or it could be space debris, according to NASA. But, NASA hasn't been very honest about a lot of stuff. So this is why people have a tendency to not trust or believe NASA. But I'm going to end the video on that. Like I said, if you enjoy the video, you enjoy my commentary, smash that like button, subscribe. Let's get those subscribers in there. And, share it. If you enjoyed my commentary on this video, please share it, like, and subscribe. And on that note, peace.